Hello and thanks for joining us for How to Program a Midland Weather Radio. In today's programming session, we're going to program the desktop Midland Weather Radio. The model is called WR120EZ, and it's the desktop radio that you commonly find around retail areas right now. And you can tell by that model number right at the top here, WR120EZ. That is going to be our model number that we're going to be programming today. What you're going to need as we start to program, you're going to need 3 AA batteries. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from the box all the way through the process as to what you need done, and then we'll finish it out by just showing it off right here on the table. So let's begin programming. First, simply take the radio out of the box. You're going to see a couple different things in here that are noteworthy. First, the radio itself. But second, this may be the most important box of this entire thing. This happens to be the power plug. So we'll open up this white box here. And it's a possibility your power plug may be slightly different in size. Midland will occasionally send a slightly different size power supply out. But the bottom line is, we open up the packaging. We'll discard this. And what you're going to see here is a power plug. This is again the most important part of this entire process because this power jack runs your radio. I'll show you where to plug it in here in a moment. Let's get our weather radio unpackaged now. Take it out of the bubble wrap and you'll see everything is blank. 3 AA's, this is where these come into play. Pop open the battery compartment in the back and go ahead and insert those 3 AA batteries in the back of your NOAA weather radio and put that cover right back on again. And now what you're going to see is a blinking 12 a.m., just like you normally would on any other electronic device that keeps a time. Now, the time is important, but at the same time, the actual weather radio itself doesn't even need to know the time of day. The time of day is just simply a convenience to you. As for the power plug, this is a very important part of all this. We'll undo the twist tie. And you'll see that there is a jack at the end here. This is the jack that goes into the back of your weather radio. You'll see there are 4 ports in the back of your NOAA weather radio here. One is called power. One is external alert. That's also really important for the deaf and also the blind. Cloning port and external antenna. Don't ever worry about the cloning port. That's why they put the little rubber stopper in there. But external antenna would be a case where this antenna isn't quite good enough for your weather radio and you can't get good reception. You'd have to get an external antenna onto there. For the vast majority of us, we only have to worry about one thing on here, and that is the power plug. Put this right into the power, and then this will plug into the wall. The batteries that you put into your NOAA weather radio are only there for emergency power outages. When you first put the batteries in your Midland weather radio, you'll notice upon startup, it's blinking midnight at you. Well, most times that'll happen when you're dealing with a little thing like this that you need to set the time on. So you hit menu, it goes right into set time. Go ahead and hit select. Now the time really doesn't matter for the radio's operation, but it is nice to have the current time on the faceplate of the radio. So let's, for example, set it at 9:25 p.m. We'll use our up and down arrow keys to cycle through whatever number happens to be blinking. And you'll notice it changes from AM to PM as you go upwards in the numbers. So there's 9 o'clock. We use our right key to move over one number. Up and up gets us the 20 part. And we go right one more and gets us to 9:25 p.m. When you get to the time frame that you'd like, go ahead and hit select. That'll save the time in there and get us back to the menu screen. Use the up arrow to go into something called Set Events. Right now, all the events that you get alerted for are set to default on. That's the way we're going to leave it for this programming event. In terms of button beeps, if I have to hear the buttons, so do you. So we'll leave those on as well. In terms of the backlight, we'll leave that on so that you can see what's going on during the programming process. Now we get to set channel. This is where we get our radio reception from. We hit select. And all of a sudden, you can hear really good reception. This happens to be on channel 4, which represents the frequency of 162.475. But there are 7 total channels that we can scan. Not very good reception there. Not good reception there. Not there either. It goes all the way around. It recycles 1 through 7. And what you do is you search through the channels as to where you hear reception the best. You want a really good, crisp signal. And we get it in Cedar Rapids with channel 4. So we hit select, and that is saved in there. Our next up arrow takes us to alert test. This is what it'll sound like when the weather radio goes off. You hit select, what you'll do is you'll hit select to set the alarm off, and then you'll hit menu to silence it for this particular test. So you hit select. Now menu will silence it for you. That's how the tone will be when the NOAA weather radio actually receives an alert for your area. Alert type. If we hit select, you'll notice you have a voice option, you have a tone option, and you have a display option. All the display option does is display it. That doesn't really help when you're asleep. So for display, we'll choose to bypass that one. Voice will give you a combination of a tone alarm as well as the National Weather Service voice. This is the one that we recommend. You may choose the tone option, but all it'll do is keep going with that tone that you heard earlier. So we recommend using the voice option. That way you get the tone to alert you, but you also get the voice to talk you through whatever the warning happens to be. Hit select to save it into the radio. Use that up arrow one more time to get to the set location part. This is extremely important, and one of the reasons why our weather radio programming events exist in the first place is to get this to go off for only your area. So if we hit set location, out of the box, you're going to have 3 possible options. One is a single county. Use the down arrow. The next is multiple counties. And then any county in the transmitter service area. We recommend using single or multiple for most approaches. Otherwise, you might wind up getting too many warnings for your area, and then the Midland Weather Radio becomes a little less effective because you're getting warned too often. So for this particular example, we're going to program in Lynn County as a single county. Hit select. You'll notice it comes up with the number 1 and the word empty. That's good. That means we're going to be getting ready to program in our single county that we want. So hit select. Gives us an option. We'll start big with the United States, so hit select. After that, we're going to select our state. You could go up, which would be backwards through the alphabet, or down, which would be forwards through the alphabet. If you press and hold that down arrow or up arrow, you can go a little bit faster. Iowa. Now we've got to scroll through our counties to get to Lynn County. Again, your up arrow can go backwards through the alphabet, or your down arrow can go forwards through the alphabet. We'll choose to go forward again, and we'll press and hold so it goes a little bit faster. You'll notice that all of Iowa's counties are in here. So if you're not looking for Lynn County, you can pick your county out. Again, for this particular programming example, we're going to do Lynn County. Lynn, there it is. Hit select. That takes us back to the menu now, where it says set location. We can double check what we just put in by hitting select, a single county, and there it is, Lynn County, Iowa. That's exactly what we want to see. Now, if you were doing multiple counties, then what you could do is go back and enter a second county in the exact same fashion, and third county in the exact same fashion. Next, set language. English, Spanish, or French. Go ahead and select the language you'd like. Set the alarm. We don't often like to do alarms with this because this can also be used as a general wake-up alarm for everyday use, such as school and work. We don't necessarily recommend that. We'd like your brain to kind of make this unique tone an emergency tone as opposed to an everyday tone. So we don't recommend that you set the alarm. And then finally, we're all the way back around now to set time. Hit menu, everything is saving, and we're done. And we're done. And that's all we have to do now. So with your Midland Weather Radio, you now have it on a transmitter setting, channel 4, that has a nice crisp signal on it. The volume's up. It's programmed only for Lynn County, and here's what you do. You set it down, you raise the antenna up. This plugs into your wall. One final thing about your NOAA Weather Radio as well. There is an on and off switch here on the right-hand side. Always ensure this switch is in the on position. We hope this helped you program your NOAA Weather Radio here today. If you have any further questions or anything that might crop up with the performance of the Weather Radio, please let us know and reach out on our Facebook page or also through email, weather@kcrg.com.